Angela. Hi Jolene. Hi Kylie. Can you hear me okay? This is my first Instagram live. I've been doing most of my sessions the last couple of weeks over on Facebook, so we thought we'd just mix it up and say hi to the crew over here. How's everyone doing? It's a stunning day here. So I'll just give everyone a couple of minutes to jump on, just in case we've got some others coming. If you've got a block or like a couple of cushions or something like that, maybe just have a bit of stuff around you. Cushions, towel, blanket, blocks, just whatever you've got, just to assist. It's nice to feel as comfy as possible. And this is going to be just like a super short tutorial. Ideally, you'd want a bit of time, especially when we're working with the hips, which is the theme today. So the hips need a bit of time. So what I'm actually going to do is just run you through how the hips work and what you can do to bring balance. Okay, so in my post yesterday, I talked about how I don't like to use the term hip opening because that tends to refer to that external rotation, the opening out of the hips. And that's just one of the functions of the hips, right? So the hips flex and extend, so they move forward and back. Yeah, they also adduct, so that's the inner legs working in. They abduct, you've got the outer hips as well that do that action. Then you've got the external rotation as well. So, and of course the side bending as well. So we've got a whole lot of functions there. So what I'm going to run you through are like 3 poses and a series of 5. So we're going to look at the what are we going to look at? The inner hips first. The hip flexors at the front first, the inner hips. We're going to look at the back, so the tops of the hamstrings. And then we're going to look at that external rotation, and we're also going to look at opening out, so working into those outer hips. So hopefully you're going to feel like you've had a little yogic hip replacement at the end of it all. So those of you that have just jumped on, just grab a few bits and pieces, maybe a cushion, blanket, bolster, blocks, whatever you've got. Keep them handy, you may or may not need them. Let's get started. So, as I said, first we're starting with the hip flexors. So we're going to start in Anjaneyasana, or an kneeling lunge. And with this one, it's key to have this thigh straight up and down. So the knee's going to be stacking over top of the hip to start. Then what I want you to think about is lengthening your tailbone down to the back of that bottom knee. And what that's going to do is, yes, work up into the quads and the hip flexor. So just take a couple of breaths there. And really focusing your breath into where you feel this. So your exhale can be a dissolving of tension, your inhale is creating space. Good. Now just inching that left foot forward, let your hips drop forward and down, but take both of your hips, yeah? So for some, the right hip might have to pull back slightly. The left hip is melting forward. And again, deep breath in, shoulders down, long breath out, feel that dissolving. Inhale, broadening, creating space. And exhale, just moving into that space. Last one here, left arm lifts up, and you're going to move into a little side stretch. I'll just angle in so you can see me. Good, so nothing else changes. We're still gently hugging that right hip in. I'm just reaching from the hip, but now of course further up the body as well. Deep inhale, long exhale. Keep exploring. Inhale and exhale. Perfect. Make your way back. You can take downward dog if you like to transition. And then when you feel ready, step your left foot forward. So as I said, we're really not going to have a whole heap of time, just moving you through this series so you can do it at your own pace at some other time. So the back, we're just going through the other side. I'll turn around that right leg hip over top of knee, lengthen the tailbone to the back of the knee, and just hold yourself upright here. Push down through the back shin, feel a little bit of sensation come up into the quads and hip flexors. Good, one more breath. And then keep that there and just start to let the hips drop forward and down, maybe inching that left foot forward so the knee remains over the ankle. Really important that front foot's nice and flat. Hug the left hip back, inhale. And just feel both hips side by side, exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Stay there, right arm lifts up if your left leg's in front, and then just start to play with a little side bend. Keep the front ribs pulling back and make it all about the side of the body here, creating space there. Deep breath, dissolving, melting, exploring. Awesome. Slowly come on up, and then once again maybe pressing back to downward facing dog. Awesome. So from here we're going to start to work into the inner seams of the legs. So a good place to start is with the feet nice and wide. What you're going to do here is bend into one leg. Let's bend into the right leg. Bring your right forearm onto that front thigh and just tap the fingertips down. So this is a bit of a hybrid. So the toes are pointing forward and you're just going to drop into the hips until you feel some sensation through the inner seam of that straight leg. Inhale, lengthen the ribs away from the pelvis. Exhale and just drop the hips back and down. Inhale. And exhale. Awesome. Now those come on up a little. Turn those right toes open and wrap the right hip underneath you and bring that forearm back to the thigh. If you can, come into a bind. So the right hand could come through, the left arm around the back. Drop the hips down. Inhale, pull the chest up. And exhale, drop the hips down. If that's too much, just bring the forearm to the thigh. Breathe in. And breathe out. And then very kindly bring yourself up. And due to lack of time, we're just going to come straight into the other side, turning the toes forward and then bending into the left leg this time. Just bring the forearm to the thigh, fingertips to the floor, and then send the sit bones down and back. Push down through that pinky toe of that extended foot and let the sensation shift into the inner seam of that straight leg. Deep breath in, ribs forward, long breath out, hips back. You feel that? Inhale, ribs forward. Exhale, hips back. Cool, come up just enough to be able to turn the toes, the knee and the hip out. Forearm to thigh, drop the hips, lift the heart. Stay there, or bringing yourself into that bind for 3 breaths. Good, and so notice that the sensation here is on the bent leg as opposed to the straight leg in the last stretch. Deep breath in, lift the heart. Exhale, drop the hips. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Bring the fingertips to the floor. Inch the feet in and we'll come into Malasana, into squat pose. So we're staying with the inner seams of the leg. And now we're just coming into a nice balancing pose, working through the center. The heels are heavy, or you could roll the back of your mat up just to perch those heels on. If this is too much, also using a block to perch on to take the load off. 3 breaths. Use your elbows to broaden the knees. Exhale, just heavy through the pelvis, through the tailbone. Inhale, lifting through the front. And exhale, just sliding, dropping down the back. One more full breath in. And long breath out. Awesome. Bring your hands in front of you. Shift your weight forward. Give the legs a little shake. Of course, maybe move back to downward dog if you like. Be a good transition for the next pose. Cool. So we're going to stay standing and step the right foot. So we're moving into the hamstrings now, right across the back of the hips, right at the top of the leg into the crease where the hamstrings attach to the glutes. So here's where your blocks or something elevated could be handy here. So what you're going to do is step that right foot forward. The left toes are pointing out to the side. The heel is grounded. Now, lengthen the spine here, and the knee might be a little soft, so a little micro bend can be really useful here. What you're going to do is gently encourage the right outer hip back and in, and the rib cage forward. Good, take another breath there. Feel free to stay in an upright position, or maybe just start to drape the body over that leg. So notice as you pull that right outer hip back, it just brings the sensation right across the back of the hamstrings. And as you know, there are 4 different hamstrings, so we're not just looking at one muscle there. So you want to create a nice balance across the back of the leg. Awesome. Then as you take your next inhale, look forward. This is a little bit of a hybrid of Warrior 3. You're going to keep the fingertips on the floor or on your blocks. Lift the left leg up, flex the toes down to the floor, and then just send that right sit bone or the right hip back. So you get that nice stretch right across the back of the leg. Quite active this one, yeah? Deep breath. Exhale. One more breath in. Breath out. And lightly touch that foot down. You can walk your way around to the other side. So the left foot's now in front, the right foot at the back. Tuck itself in. The feet stay hip width apart, so no need to cross the feet up. You just lose your sense of stability. So feet at hip width apart. Fingertips lengthening the rib cage forward, and as you exhale, just feel that left outer hip slide back and in. Another breath in. Feel free to stay here or just start to drape the body over the leg. So we want to feel, I was saying the other day about the legs being like this really energized and strong mountain all the way up into the pelvis. And then the upper body wants to feel here like a waterfall, just fluid and easeful, flowing out through the crown of the head. One more breath. Exhale. And then come back onto the fingertips. Look forward, lift the right leg up, flex the toes down for 3. Left hip pulls back from the outside. Exhale. Rib cage lengthens away from the pelvis. The same time the right heel pushes back. One more long breath in. Full breath out. And then touch that foot down. Come to the long edge of your mat for a wide leg fold. Toes pointing forward. Push down through the pinky toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Then exhale, just bring the hands in below your face or in front of your face. Wrap the elbows towards each other. And then just use the strength in your arms to drop you down. If the floor seems like a long way away, just bring those hands to blocks. So just using that little bit of strength in the upper body to encourage the body in, which in turn is just going to deepen the sensations in the legs. One more long breath. Full breath out. Beautiful. Walk the hands underneath your face. You're going to turn to the front of your mat. Sweep that right leg up to the sky. Take a breath. And then bring the right knee in behind the right wrist. For the mother of all hip stretches, right? Half pigeon. Now, you might have an elevated right hip. Use your cushion or a block. A cushion's quite nice because it's just that little bit of support. Breathe in, lift your rib cage away from the pelvis. You've been hearing that a lot today. And then breathe out and just start to drop yourself down. So the beauty of this pose, or the intensity of this pose, is that you're able to use your entire body weight to work into the hips. Instead of pushing, instead of forcing, we're actually surrendering. 2 more breaths. Ideally, you want to be here for a couple of minutes. So this might be one that you just pick out of the practice and come back to once we're done. Spend a bit more time here. Feel that right hip dropping down. Breathe all the way out. And then kindly walk your way back up. Okay, before we do the other side, we're going to come to a seat and stack that right foot over top of the left for double pigeon. So the ankle's coming right over the knee here, and the shins are about stacked. If this doesn't work, you can straighten that bottom leg out or sit cross-legged. You can also slide some stuff underneath that right thigh. Fingertips lift the body up. Exhale and just get heavy down through the sit bones. Breathe in for spaciousness. Breathe out. Let anything go you don't need. Deep breath in. Full breath out. Awesome. Stay here, keeping this right leg bent. Got a couple of options here. So we're going to look at cradling the baby. So you can hook your arms like so, or just hold on to the knee and the foot, and make your way down onto your back. So using some strength in the upper body to bring that leg in, and maybe just taking a little rock and roll. If this just does not work, bend the left leg in and come into your figure 4 stretch, reaching for the left hamstrings, hooking the ankle over the knee. You choose. 2 more breaths here. It's just nice to see something different, especially for those of you that practice quite regularly. Good. And then slowly release that right leg. Lay on your back, give the legs a shake. Notice the right and the left side. And then when you're ready, rock and roll or come up via your side. Step back to downward dog and we'll do the other side. Take a breath in, lift the left leg up. Breathe out, curl the left knee in behind the left wrist. Set up for your half pigeon. You might need a little more support on this side. And of course, traditionally half pigeon, the shin is parallel to the top of your mat. And so that changes things a little bit, yeah? That might elevate your pelvis more and mean that you require a little more support. If that just doesn't work, of course, just scoot the foot in closer to the groins. Make your way forward, 3 breaths. Make your breath potent. So every exhale is an opportunity to release tension and in turn create space. Amazing. Slowly start to walk your way back up. I could stay there a whole lot longer today. Take your seat. The left shin is going to stack over top of the right into your double pigeon. Flexing the foot's going to support the knee joints. And then just feel both sit bones nice and even. Inhale here. Exhale, hips heavy. You can play with a little tip forward if you like. Just notice how that changes things. Keeping that lower back nice and long. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. Come on up. Cradling the left shin if that works. So hooking the elbow and the left arm over the knee. Maybe interlacing the hands or just holding the ankle and knee. Make your way down onto your back. And just gently cradle that leg until you find that sweet spot. Modifying by bending the right leg in and reaching through for the right hamstrings. Try to relax the neck as well, wherever you choose to be. Inhale. Exhale. Relax the lower back down. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Releasing that foot out. Give the legs a little shake. And then from there, we're going to cross the right leg over top of the left. So it's like you're just sitting cross-legged with the right leg over. And then start to separate the feet away from each other. So this is supine gomukhasana. You can reach for the feet like so and work the feet towards the face. Or it might be the shins here. Okay. You could also use a couple of straps to loop around the feet if your hands and feet are a bit further away from each other. So a couple of breaths here, in and out. Breathe in, breathe out. Awesome. Keep the legs where they are. If you can, rock yourself up to sitting and shift yourself into seated gomukhasana. So you can use a block to sit on or just scoot yourself down. So the knees are on top of each other, the feet are scooting out to the side. Again, a modification could be to extend that bottom leg, just like the first hip pose we did. Stacking the knees and working the foot back. So now, of course, we're working into the abductors, so the outer hips. The last three poses were your external rotators. So in the gomukhasana, and the one we're in here, it's really nice to visualize those outer hips just draping down. It might feel nice to gently tip forward, or it might feel something to tip forward. Nourishing breath in. Sorry, cut out for a second there. Stay right there and just lift the left arm up. So the right leg's on top, the left arm's going to come up and over into a side stretch. And just see how that accentuates into that outer hip, that it brings it further up the body. Into that area where in between the pelvis and the ribs. Really breathe into where you feel it the most. And then inhale, bring yourself back up. Good, unravel the legs, give them a little shake. We'll do that sequence of 3 poses once more and then we're done. Cross the left leg over top of the right. Reach for the feet, the shins. Or again, if you've got some straps or anything handy, even a couple of tea towels to loop around the feet and just pull them towards you. Giving those outer hips some love. Try to drop the shoulders back. There is definitely no point in working into the hips if we're just creating a whole lot of tension in the shoulders at the same time. Just try to cradle yourself wherever you are. One more long breath. Relax the lower back as you exhale. Gently release, but keep the legs where they are. Just rock and roll yourself up and come into your seated gomukhasana. So here you can be sitting up on that block to elevate the hips or straightening that bottom leg out. Focus once again on feeling the outer hips just draping down, the shoulders relaxing, the heart is elevated and open, and maybe inching your way forward for a couple of breaths. Find what feels good, yeah? Don't worry so much about how it looks. Just bring some love into those outer hips, the adductors. And then nice and slow, walk the hands back in. The right hand, the right leg is underneath you. Lift the right arm up and over. Same time, anchor that right hip down and feel that stretch into the outer hip, the side of the waist, up into the ribs, round into your armpit and neck. Nourishing breath in, releasing breath out. Deep breath, full exhale. Inhale, come on up. And exhale, just bring the hands behind you, the feet out wide. Just nice and slow, give the knees a roll from side to side. So, that was your hips in full circle. We worked into the hip flexors at the start. We worked into the inner seams of the hips next. Then we worked into your hamstrings in the back. We did our external rotators and our pigeons and like. And then we finished off with those outer hips for a really nice balanced experience for the hips. So let me know how you got on. This was a really short example of what I'm doing live in my private Facebook group. If you want more information, send me a message or head to my website. The link's in my bio. Thank you so much for joining me. Nice to see some different faces over here. And yeah, we'll do it again soon. Namaste.